I know y'all be getting tired of me talking about stuff like this, and y'all be thinking like I'm OD and I'm just dragging it, but I promise y'all I'm not. The example, the story time I'm finna give y'all is literally the reason why I be saying stuff I be saying. If the shoe fits, then wear it, Cinderella. If not, keep scrolling. Don't be coming to my comments talking about some, well, not all, babes. Yeah, majority, but not all. Y'all be thinking I'm lying when I say that a lot of white women, literally, they do not like seeing a black woman do better than them. They do not like seeing a black woman who is prettier than them. They don't like seeing a black woman that overpasses them. As long as you're not doing better than them, then they're good. I'm friends, she's black, with a girl who runs track, and I was spending some time with her, like, you know, talking with her. I talked to her in a minute. I'm sitting on the couch or whatever, I'm on the phone, and I'm talking to her, and she's telling me about this teammate who's also her roommate. She's white. She started telling me about the passive and microaggressive behavior that her teammate would show her during practice and in her dorm room. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Explain. She told me about a situation where, like, every day at practice she beats her. Her times are always faster than hers. Like, you know, she overpasses her in everything she does. She said she would look at her white teammate whenever they would get done running and ask her if she's good, if she's okay, because she'd be huffing and puffing and breathing hard like she ain't took a breath in hours. And she said the white girl was just like side eye her, give her a dirty look, or just won't say nothing. Then she said there was this one time when they were in practice and they were doing time trials and they were running and whatnot, and she ended up beating her. My friend, the black girl, she's not the fastest on her team. There's maybe like a few people that's faster than her by a little bit, but she's like top 3, top 5. And the people that's faster than her, maybe by like a little bit, are not black, but still. There was one day in practice they were doing the time trials, and after everybody got done running, her roommate, the white girl, starts crying, and people start surrounding her, asking her what's wrong, and her teammate looks at her, not the other girls that's faster than her. She looks at my friend, the black girl, and goes, she can't be better than me. She can't be better. She can't be faster than me. Like, white women do not like seeing black women surpass them. Like, I kid y'all, I'm not making this up. I looked at my fan, because we over the phone. I'm looking at my friend, I'm like, she said that out loud, or did she say that to you, or did you just hear it around the grapevine? She said no, she said that out loud. That's what she told the people that was checking on her, that was asking about her. She was like, she said it out loud. She said she cannot be better than me. She cannot be faster than me. Mind you, my friend, the black girl, is not the fastest on the team. She's top 5, but she is not the top fastest. Top fastest are not even black. But it's like she picked my friend down and was like, oh, she can't be better than me. She can't be faster than me. Do y'all see what I'm like? Do y'all see what I'm talking about though? Like, do y'all see what I mean? It's like, I was having a conversation with my best friend like a week ago, and we got a kind of like a mini argument about this, because he was trying to say, well, Shay, not all white people are bad, not all white girls are bad. And I said, I'm not saying every white person is bad. You got to read the fruits of their spirits first. I was explaining to him, bro, a lot of these white people will smile and kiki in your face, because I think I've seen videos and I've met her teammate before. She's really sweet, super nice. But I was like, a lot of these white women will smile and kiki and haha in your face. A lot of these white people will smile and kiki and haha in your face. But when you're not around, you're having conversations with their families about how they feel about black people, how they feel about people of color. Low key, they be hiding, you know, envy in their heart. But they be in these one-sided competitions with you. My friend was literally telling me that there's times where she would do things and say things and try to pick fights with her, and you could tell that she's doing it just to get a reaction out of her. That's what I'm not saying all white people are bad. I'm not saying all white women are bad. I am not. You know, I can read the fruits of the spirit of someone, and I can tell if they're like, you know, a genuine person or not. A lot of y'all, when you're dealing with white people, especially as a black woman, when you're dealing with white women, this is a tick for tack game. And I promise you I win every time. This is a tick for tack game with them. You gotta have strategy when dealing with them. I told my friend, I said, you need to make sure you're praying over yourself. I said, you need to make sure you keep yourself prayed over, watch your back and whatnot, because to be around someone like that is dangerous. So it's very obvious that she's envious of you. It's very obvious that she's in this one-sided beef with you. And I said, anything that she can do to trip you up, get you in trouble, do anything to screw you up, she's going to do it. And then play victim and act like she ain't do nothing. I said, you need to be careful. This is what I be talking about. Like, I know y'all be thinking, oh, Shay's dramatic, Shay's just so super pro-black. No, like, these are real life situations that people are going through. It's a dangerous position to be in. Like, I don't.
The biggest reason that I know that white feminism is a real problem is just the perceived threat that so many white women feel from black women just existing. Before I continue, I'm gonna reference myself as attractive. Yes, I know, shocker. I did this before and y'all got on my ass. I don't know what to say, we're gonna keep doing it. But as a black woman, when you like transition from unattractive to being perceived as attractive, you will notice a change in behavior from not only men, but also women, specifically white women. Especially when you don't fit like a certain stereotype that they associate with your race and like what they deem a black woman should act like. It's almost like they don't know how to act with you, and they end up, you know, feeling this contempt. They implicitly know that they are the standard. Like, they have been socialized to know that. It's been their experience to have men want them of any race. But in that, they also know that whiteness is sort of blankness. And I actually don't mean that in like a mean way. I mean, it is the standard. It's the norm. It is the opposite of exoticism. So in their male-centered minds, they're thinking, yeah, like in majority of cases, I'm going to get the guy. But when they want a little switch up, a change from their usual, that is when women of color, specifically black women, become a big threat. It's like a lot of them sort of know that a lot of girls look like them. A lot of pretty girls look like them. They can never account for the allure of a deviation from that norm. So when they see an attractive black woman, it's like, okay, I have to see it. How can I fight against this? I don't have the facilities to fight against this. And to compensate for that, I think that's why we see a lot of like white women try to play into the features of women of color. The style, the slick backs, the lip filler, aneurysms, all of it. Like they want to be able to oscillate between all types of attractiveness, become this sort of like maxed out woman who has every single thing a guy could ever want at any time. Because they are so used to being the standard, they cannot accept someone wanting something different. They kind of try to like borrow parts of you to become that so that that won't happen again. It's very interesting and it happens more than you would think.
My mom told me about a video that she saw on TikTok basically saying, I don't like when pretty women are confident. And I don't really have too much to say about that part. But something that I have noticed is when I'm in rooms with white women, and it's majority white women, they almost don't even acknowledge me. Every time I'm in a room full of white women or a bunch of white women are in the area, most white women, unless they're older, unless they're literally 60 plus, anytime I'm in rooms with women who are around my age, young or middle age, like in their 40s, they literally don't acknowledge me. Like they don't even address me as a human. If I'm talking to them, if I'm around them, if I'm in their spaces, like literally act like they don't see me. Like, don't get it twisted. I don't need white women to validate me. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I'm very aware of what I look like, and I don't need anybody to compliment me to make me feel good about myself. When I step, I know I step. If nobody acknowledges me, that's great. But what I've noticed is it feels like white women specifically go out of their way to not acknowledge you because I feel like they don't want you to think that you're on their level because you're black. Specifically because you're a black woman. I've never had that issue with confident white girls though. I've had confident white girls before give me a compliment, but it's very rare and it barely happens. But whatever, perception isn't reality. I'm not the type of person that takes offense to people not acknowledging me, and I'm not the type of person to make up certain feelings. But it's something that I've recognized repetitively in rooms with white girls who are young or white women who are middle-aged.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, like how much did white Americans actually do in all of that time? If we are to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by like nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges. And like, to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you like totally deny, the existence of black people for whom success is like second nature when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it, I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest black excellence? Like, what will help you? And for that, I would suggest like a lot of therapy, like a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history. Yeah, maybe? Okay, bye!
Some white guy just told me that he doesn't like black girls, unsolicitedly by the way. But apparently I have a cute face, and I was his exception. Just like, do you think that would make me want you? Not only that, what if I tell you I don't like white niggas? He said it as if it was a compliment, like I was supposed to be like, oh, thank you so much. Not even cute either, like.
White people lack community, but they thrive in individualism. And funny enough, that individualism is cancelled out and then it's brought into being a community once racism and white supremacy start being the trend. You see, most white people now jump on that other side, and they come together and they enforce these things that do not benefit black people, that actually hurt black people, which is kind of scary. And that is why so many black people do not trust white women, white men, and just anything to do with white people, because with the centuries and the histories of white people doing the worst and the most cruel things to black people, why would black people like sit down and actually listen to you when you're talking about black people issues? But it's funny when white people now come to the aid of black people but do not really do it correctly. And I'm thinking that is because you haven't really taught yourself how to, approach certain situations. Because when you come, you come for a white woman because she simply asked for a black owned business that sells a certain kind of product, and then you start talking about how racist it is for her to ask for a black owned product. Now that's being weird. That means that you haven't actually learned what it is to actually support a black community or black people. And you see, now the thing with why white people are so much into black people's businesses is because they lack community. So not being able to grow up in a place where you can actually depend on your friend for certain things, and actually seeing that black people actually have such a thing. And you will find that black people grow in a community where if a black person is actually failing in life or things are not going on well for them, you will find that there's this community that is ready to help. There's this community that is always ready to help and give you a hand in whatever you're doing. Well, not everyone, just people who actually are good. And white people do not technically have that. I'm not saying every white person does not have that, but being grown into a place where you only have individuality and you can only express yourself as yourself, it can bring quite a problem. And that's why we have so many white people trying to be included in so many of black people's communities and so many of black people's events and things that they do. And they want to, a share of this culture. And it's fine. It's okay. You can share this culture with black people. You can, borrow a thing or two. But now the problem comes when you now, before you had access to something black people did, you called it ghetto, you called it too loud, you called it extravagant. But once you get an open door, a green light into this life, this particular life where there is culture, there is community, there's all this and this things that you're not used to, you come out to the world, you copy that thing, and then you sell it as cute and demure and adorable. Yet you borrowed it. And this is why we see so many black people coming out with so many things and so many different ways of expressing yourself. There's hairstyles, there's clothes that you can wear, there are handbags. Black people have done so many things. I cannot list everything, but black people have flavored things in so many ways that I cannot even start listing it down. But you will see that there are these celebrities who see black people or black owned businesses doing a certain thing, then they will steal it and then rebrand it, literally using the same thing, but now something that was considered ghetto or bad or not cute because it was owned by a black person is now considered the trend when it's done by a white person, and the white person will literally take all the grace. And this is why black people do not trust white people. You cannot expect black people to trust you and give you their trust if you continuously do the correct opposite. Every single time you have been given an opportunity, you have done the correct opposite. When a black woman looks nice, I'm not saying that you need to tell a black woman she looks amazing, but can you not look at her funny? Can you not give her the weird eyes? Can you not, you can just be happy or not even say anything? Even if you're jealous, just not say anything, just move on with your life. Why do we have to have this exchange of weird eye contact where I look at you and you look at me and you're like, okay, fine, you look good, but I hate it. It doesn't need that doesn't need to be there, But before I give my full commentary, let's dive in, listen to what other people have to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it. See you shortly.
Sell her.
What's all this?
You will sell the niggers.
Sell little Pats? She picked with more vigor than any other nigga. Choose another to go.
No other. Sell her.
I will not.
You will remove that black bitch from this property, or I'll take myself back to Janieville.
She giving him an ultimatum. She said, remove that black girl, sell that black girl, or I will leave. Your white queen will leave. And what does he say?
Back to that hog's trough where I found you.
Back to that hoe's trough where I found you. She wasn't nothing but a scallywag. She was nothing but one of those Caucasian indentured, some would say, neoclassical slaves, okay? This woman was nothing but a hoe from London, sent to America. He found her in a brothel, and now she thinks that she can dictate. Ooh, wait a minute. He said, I'll send you back to the brothel I found you in.
Why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still gonna be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nigga nose, it can only be niggas. Why would somebody vandalize a whole face and only vandalize one part? Nobody wanted to knock an eye off or take an ear off or no chins missing. Nope, just the nose.
I'm in these non-toxic groups on Facebook where people live non-toxic lives and we're looking for non-toxic recommendations for the products that we use. And I made a Facebook post, this was a while back, and I was like, I'm looking for Black-owned non-toxic hair product recommendations for my entire family who has various hair types. And my post was just met with so many white women who are like, that's racist. Why are you looking for Black owned? I'm telling you, this post got endless comments full of hatred. Like, it just kept coming and coming and coming. You support Black businesses to get rid of the racial wealth gap. Like, it's seriously the least that you can do. It's the easiest thing that you can do. So I was like talking with these people in the comments, and they're coming at me and they're attacking me. And it brought out a side of me that I'm not proud of. I called them what they were. And basically, my entire post got taken down. And so I didn't get any answers. But if this isn't a really good example of how white people don't want Black people to succeed, I don't know what is. And so if you have any good recommendations for non-toxic products in general that are Black owned, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, because I did get a couple of answers, but the post got taken down so suddenly that I couldn't write them down. And then some that we found that we ended up trying just didn't work out the way that we hoped. We have hair types ranging from 4A to C and hair like mine. But I'm always looking for Black-owned businesses that I can support in general, and products that are non-toxic are a big plus.
Look, I need y'all to understand something, okay? Because I know some of y'all might think I'm a bully, and I'm not. I just stand on business. I stand all the way on business, and I don't make any apologies for it. I, as a light-skinned woman, would never sit in the face of a brown or dark-skinned sister and gaslight her and act like, oh, we the same and we've had the same experiences, and just ignore colorism. I would never do that, because it would be insulting to them to sit in their face and act like they didn't go through nothing, because I, as a light-skinned woman, went through the same thing when I know damn well that that's not true. I told y'all this, and I'm going to say it again. I grew up getting my ass beat by dark-skinned girls, not even understanding what colorism was at that time, because as black people, nobody talks about it when we're growing up. We're just now at a point where we can talk about colorism and how it affects us all, right? So I already knew why I was getting my ass whooped as a kid. Now I know. Back then I didn't, but now that I'm older, I know exactly why. It had nothing to do with me. It was just they didn't like my ass because I was light-skinned. It just is what it is. So I'm not finna sit in front of my dark-skinned sisters and tell them that, oh, I understand what it's like to be called blackie. Oh, I understand what it's like to be told, hey, stay out the sun, you're getting too dark. I've never been told that. Nobody's ever said that to me. So understand that that's the same way I feel when it comes to biracial women. I'm not finna let no biracial woman sit in my face and tell me that we're the same, when you know damn well we're not. When you know damn well that black men are putting you on a pedestal because you're biracial. When you know damn well that the majority of y'all are growing up without your black fathers in the home. So you're growing up with your white side or your Hispanic side or your Asian side, and you want to sit in a black woman's face and tell her that we're the same? You got me fucked up. You will never be seen as the same over here. There are levels to this shit, and everybody needs to see that and respect that. That 1% drop rule, man, that shit died out years ago. Ain't nobody fucking with that. I don't care if you 1%, 2% black. You're not black. It just is what it is. And I don't have to see you as black, and I'm not gonna see your motherfucking ass as black. And ain't nobody and can't nobody make me see you as black. So the same way I respect my dark-skinned sisters and the trials that they go through, that's the same way biracial women are gonna respect my trials and the shit that I go through. Because when you're in my face, I'm going to make you respect it. Everybody should be proud of being who they are, and that means everything that you are. There is no reason in 2025 for any person who is biracial, who is mixed, who has two parents that are different races, to be sitting up here clinging onto blackness. There's no reason for that. You have an entire community of biracial people that understand you, that because they go through the same thing. So that's what I would be doing if I were a biracial person. If I had parents of two different races, I would focus on being proud of being both and find a community of other biracials who are also both. So that way we can uplift each other. I wouldn't be getting online or getting mad at black women for not accepting me for being a black woman when I know damn well that's not what I am anyway. So I said what I said, and I meant what I said. And for those of you who've been following me a long time, you already know where I'm coming from. You know where my heart is. I ain't got to explain that to nobody else. But the point is we all need to be proud of who we are and stop expecting other people to see us as something else. Ain't nobody better than nobody. Ain't no color better than nobody. Ain't no race better than nobody. And the sooner people can be proud and accept themselves for who they are, we will no longer have a need to have these conversations. So hopefully everything I said makes sense. If it don't, I don't know what to tell you.
It doesn't matter how many times it happens. I'm continually shocked at the ways other women who are seemingly girls or liberal or for women's advancement are just so triggered by black women thriving. I think it's one thing to be accepting and not openly hostile to people who are different from you, but it's another thing to deal with the deep-seated fear that patriarchy and patriarchal cultures instill in women, which is that there's only so much protection, there's only so much privilege to go around, and you need to protect what's yours. I find too with a lot of women is that if you believe, if they've already convinced themselves that what they have, like they've convinced themselves to like what they have and not go for more, it's really disconcerting to see another woman, especially a woman who you have been taught or socialized to believe should want even less than you have, believing she's worth more or believing that she deserves and should go after what she wants. I think people look at someone like Bazoma St. John, the former CMO of Netflix, and they think she should just be happy that she was allowed to be in the building. Why does she have to be so loud? Why does she have to be so into her fashion? Why does she have to like herself so much? I think people are okay with you succeeding, but if you like yourself, then you become dangerous in a certain way because they can't use any manipulation of your supposed inferiority or your gratefulness to be there to get you to do what they want you to do or to stay smaller or to give up more to them. Anytime anybody betrays the social code or the socialization that we're taught from small is what makes society turn and makes us safe, there's this sense of fear because it's now, okay, the rules have been upended. The script that we were all going by, that I understand, that's familiar to me, it doesn't apply here. So what does this mean about everything else I believe? What does this mean about what I believe I'm worth or what I should be expecting in my own relationships or in my own life? And rather than examining that, rather than looking and interrogating their own beliefs, they would just like people to sit down and not unsettle them and their way of thinking. It's so much easier to do that.
And the thing about microaggressions is so often you don't even get to hear them yourself. Microaggressions often are directed at you, but a lot of the times they're insinuated amongst typically white people themselves rather than even being directed at the person they're targeting. I want to tell a story about this so I can explain this better. So the other week we had a festival in our neighborhood or whatever, and this festival draws a lot of people. The festival is primarily Black people, of course, but of course in the crowd there's going to be some white people. Now, when this festival really gets popping, you're going to be moving through crowds of people. Some people are going to be walking the opposite way. Some people are going to be walking the same way you're going. Either way, y'all are basically brushing shoulders. So I'm walking in front of a group of white guys. Again, they're in a pool full of Black people. So I already knew something was going to come up that was interesting to hear. Now, on the other side of us, a group of what we would define now as YNs, but basically boys with like Black clothing, maybe a ski mask like rolled up, walk by us. Now, the white dude behind me decides this is an appropriate time to make a joke saying, "Hey, do y'all want to get out the street and walk on the sidewalk?" And all of them laugh. So I turned around and I said, "You're scared of those little boys?" They were shook. And I knew I didn't peep them wrong because they weren't in a rush to be like, "Oh no," they weren't offended by the fact that I caught them. They were shocked about it. You see, amongst them, he threw out a microaggression, but those boys didn't even hear it. Amongst them, he insinuated that it looked like danger was coming their way simply because of how these kids were presenting themselves. And when I say kids, like these couldn't have been boys over 17 years old max. And when he was called out about it, he didn't even have the time to fake as though that's not what he meant. And he tried to brush it off. And I knew he had been caught because all conversations stopped after they got caught, although they were laughing and giddy before. See, microaggressions are brought to the surface only when the group has dispersed amongst each other, enough of them for them to get public saying it out loud, especially saying it out loud directed to the person. Wherever microaggressions exist out loud, macro racism exists within the in-groups that are contributing to it. Those men didn't expect me to hear them. Those men didn't expect me to say anything to address them. And at some level, they probably thought Black people weren't smart enough to even peep such microaggressions. But this is how it goes when white people are in privacy with each other oftentimes. They make jokes at our expense, even while visiting our communities and our festivals, hoping we don't hear them, and then using plausible deniability when they're called out. Nobody is safe from microaggression. As I said, they were directing these at young kids, while being grown men looking about 30 or more.
Child, I was on TikTok the other day, y'all, and I can't even remember the post, but baby, I went to those comments. Y'all gotta go to the comments. Sometimes it don't all the way be that post, it be the comments. So fast forward, I go down in the comments, and this person said, she just knows in her heart of hearts that Black success, Black excellence is a direct pipeline to white racism. And baby, I had to pause. I had to pause because Y'all know it's true. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, pisses racist white folks off more than black success. Baby, you can set your watch by it. The moment a black person shines, here they come. And baby, they be big mad. Look around. Shador Sanders, drag. Jasmine Crockett, attack. Stacey Abrams, undermine. Barack and Michelle Obama, baby, they been long gone and they still catching hate over being overqualified. Meanwhile, Donnie and them ran up in the White House with resumes of a used car salesman. Baby, nepotism at its best. Underqualified ain't even the word. But when it's us, baby, they gonna twist that story, twist that narrative, and tie themselves in knots trying to convince the world that we don't belong. And why though? Because deep down inside, they know, baby, they could never. We've done more with less. We thrive in a system that is built for our demise. And baby, they could never. That's why their brain short circuits with rage. That's why their comments overflow with vitriol. And honestly, y'all, I love that for us. I do. Because every time that rage gets out of hand, is proof that our excellence is undeniable. So happy Black History 365, y'all. Keep shining, keep winning. Because our success will always expose their mediocrity. See y'all next time.
It is anti-black and inappropriate for white women and white people to make any type of social commentary about black people's appearances, especially black women's hairstyles, because white people for centuries systemically and socially policed, objectified, and terrorized black people, black bodies, and the black existence because of slavery. Texturism exists as a word, concept, and practice because white people were looking for ways to further objectify, pick apart, and discriminate against black people. And that discrimination always disproportionately negatively impacts darker complexion black people with more textured hair. The reason why it's very different for a black woman to make social commentary about hairstyle she likes on a white woman versus a white woman doing that to black women is slavery. The Tignon laws of 1786. White women have gone above and beyond to police the creativity, authenticity, and expression of black women and black people, specifically our hairstyles. They took it as far as going to the government and demanding the government enact violent policy toward black people's natural hairstyles, black women's natural hairstyles that are native to black people in the black community because they allegedly felt threatened by it. Just like they always feel threatened by black people's boundaries and autonomy and authenticity. Look at how they've responded and reacted when black people have said, please leave us alone, or we're not interested in your opinions. They crash out. In 2019, the government passed the Crown Act because black people were and still are being discriminated against on the basis of hair texture. And there were black women in the comments saying, it's not that deep, I'm black and I don't have an issue with this. They were going as far as thanking these white women for their backhanded, dog whistle, misogynoirist, anti-black comments about our people and our culture. White people know what they are doing. These are the same people who enslaved us. They absolutely know what they are doing when they are testing out their dog whistle racism. And every opinion coming out of the black community does not reflect the black community, especially not commentary enabling their racism, enabling their anti-blackness and misogynoir. If you think it's not that deep, it's either because you're not that informed, your racial self-esteem is not that high, you don't experience that type of discrimination, or you do, but you are in denial about your own victimhood in a system of white supremacy where you are being harmed on the basis of being black and a woman in any other intersection. Because it would be that deep if it was happening to you.
White women specifically have privilege, but they do not have the power that comes with it. And that's why in history, when we learn about history, we learn about the voices behind the lynchings. We hear about the voices behind the mass incarcerations and the complete terrorism and violent attacks towards the black people. It's because these women behind the scenes were doing everything and whispering everything to make sure that black people do not win. And that's why, if you do your research well, you'll find that most of the people who protested against black people actually not being slaves anymore were white women, because that is the only power they had. They only had power over black slaves. They only had power over black people. And that power was being taken away from them. Meaning, the white men win. And we all know that white men aren't the best people. And we all know that white women are scared of white men. They're scared of their fathers, their grandfathers, their husbands, their sons. They're scared of all this. Anyone who is a man and he's white, they're all scared of them because they know what comes with having a white man around you. And it's sad to see when, these white women always, when they come to black women and they're talking about feminism, and they want black women to join them in these talks on feminism and how to support each other and to fight for, having a space in the community as a woman. Yeah, that happens, right? And then once it actually starts working, then black women actually start speaking about specific issues that they want to actually, change. Because you cannot say that white women and black women go through the same challenges. That doesn't happen. Because white women have white women tears. What do black women have? What do black women have? So black women will talk about these specific things that white women do not understand and bring that to their attention. But once it's about, specifically black people, black women, and what they technically want, and then the empowering of only black women and not all women, it now becomes a problem. Oh, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's talk about that another time. Like, we do not really have, enough time to talk about that. Like, we do understand you're black and you have all these things going on, but we're just talking about, feminism as a whole, like all of us, not specifically black people, And let me talk about white women tears and all the chaos that it brought. White women tears brought so much, it literally even brought lynching because a woman lied about a young boy, just a small boy, who literally got lynched because she lied about something. She just decided to lie, and that was it. We have so many cases of white women and their way of weaponizing their innocence because they were, seen as, and their image was, of purity and vulnerability. And they used this to spark violence. And they used that because they could literally make false accusations against black men and black women and win. They knew how to trigger white men violence. They knew how to trigger it. That's why white women are so against having people who are once slaves and being told that these people are once slaves come now and defeat them in the real life, in reality. You come from class, you were taught about history and how these black people were way beneath you, and you didn't think even for a day that they would ever hold positions above you. They would be more talented than you, that they would bring any kind of inventions to the world, that they will become leaders to your own country. Your country was ruled by a black man, and he was actually good at it. Look at the white man that is on the seat right now. Yeah, you see the difference? Okay, so coming out into the world and actually realizing these things can actually trigger you. And that's why we have so many white women not adjusting to reality and actually accepting that this is the new reality. You do not have to base everything off of what you were taught by your parents, your grandparents, what you were taught by your aunts and uncles, what you were taught by community, because we know that the community has taught you that black people do not matter. And that's why we have so many white people still being racist and still judging black people for certain things in their lives that don't even make sense. That's why we still have white people who believe that white privilege means you being rich. That's why we have so many white people not quite understanding what their history entails. That's why we have so many white people who do not understand that the anger that is inside them is because of their history, not because of black people. It's not because of your reality right now. You might be living you might be leading a good life. You have never done anything bad to black people, but are you supporting black people? You're not. And yet your ancestors benefited. You are eating, you are thriving because of black people's sweat, blood, and tears. You cannot just erase that from yourself. You cannot just erase it. That is your generation still benefiting from black people who are still asking for reparations. You are benefiting from their pain, from the pain that they have to live with because of their history. Yes, there are black people who actually lived in the slave time and they were actually slaves. There are black people who are actually alive right now, who went through slavery, and they can tell you stories of what white people did to them. And instead of you actually listening to black people and they tell you it's that deep, you want to bring up, conversations of, oh, I'm not my parents, I'm not my great grandparents, no one said you were them. No one said you were them. But are you benefiting from what they got? You are. You are benefiting from it. Are black people benefiting from that pain? No. It's literally causing more pain. And yet, even after they have tried to move on with their lives and they're trying to become something of themselves and actually thrive in this life, you're still putting your biggest eye on them, policing everything, every move they make, killing their kids, hurting their moms, hurting the dads and the father figures in those families, making sure that you provide as much drugs into that society as humanly possible to make sure that these people do not thrive in any way. And yet, when a black person tells you that it's that deep, you don't want to listen to them. When you have literally done everything to make sure that those people do not thrive beyond you. It's that deep. When a black person tells you it's that deep, listen to them, because it's not funny. It's not funny. You get to sleep without thinking about it. I'm not saying black people have to sleep each and every day thinking about how you hurt them, because anyway, black people do not really think about white people. I'm just saying that you cannot just up and decide that history did not happen, because if it happened to you, you will want the same things from the people who made you suffer. If black people were to now become, let's say just now, right now, if you woke up and you found that black people are now the ones who are policing the streets, they are now the most police, they account for the most police in the police department from wherever you are. Let's say you're in Texas, you're in New York, you're in LA, you're in wherever you are. Black people are the ones who are mostly on the streets, who are mostly the cops, and they make it a point to make sure that they target only white communities, only white people. What will happen then? Will you be as kind? Will you go to the streets and march peacefully like black people do? Or will you cause a huge enough riot to make sure that your country burns? So think about it before you talk back to a black person and they tell you that it's that deep. Yes, you might be scared of black excellence. You might be scared of what black people will do with the power that they are actually getting back and actually regaining from what you took from them, but you do not take the light. Yes, you might be scared. But how about you make it right before they get that power? How about you make it right? Maybe they'll forget. Maybe you'll make them forget. Maybe once they get enough power, they're gonna be like, okay, white people are my dudes, white people are my dudes. How about you change your ways? Because I can assure you, black people are not out there teaching hate towards the white people unless it's well deserved. Okay, so if you're a white person, I hope you've learned something. If you're a black person, continue fighting. You are amazing. I love you wherever you are. And I hope that this is a motivation to anyone out there who just a motivation to anyone, or a learning curve, or just something that you have learned today or would want to share with your friends and family for entertainment or for learning purposes, I would really appreciate if you share this video so we can continue to grow and to learn together. And if you like this video, kindly consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Also comment what do you think about this particular video. I'd like to interact with you down in the description, in the comment section below. If you'd like to support me in another way, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. I will truly appreciate, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.